Hello and welcome to Executive Tech Talks, the show where we talk to executives about their technology tribulations and triumphs. Thanks for tuning in. Before we begin, our sincerest thanks to this episode's exclusive sponsor. And now, here's your host, Johna Johnson, who will introduce today's guest.
Welcome, everyone. I'm delighted to introduce you to Jeanne Andreana. Jeanne is the head of digital strategy and platforms for UBS Wealth Management Americas. Jeanne, I'm so happy you could be here today. So here we are going to be talking about two of Jeanne's favorite topics, digital transformation and the human connection. And let's kick it off with something that I think is incredibly important to clarify at the beginning. What does digital transformation mean to you?
At its core, digital transformation is really a course change in how an organization leverages its technology, people, and processes. Now, for me, it's really about driving adoption of digital and transforming how we do business and how we service our clients. It's critical to think of the advisor digital experience and the client digital experience as reinforcing and enabling each other. So when I think about wealth management, the future isn't about creating these transactional experiences. It's about elevating that shared human connection for our advisors and clients. And it has the potential to be a huge differentiator. So we're aiming really to create a truly human-centered end-to-end digital experience for our clients, our advisors, and their teams to drive organic growth.
So you use this notion of human connection enabled by the technology. Can you give us a couple of examples of what that is?
So when you're planning your own financial journey and you're thinking about what's important to you, maybe retirement. So I'm looking at the horizon and when I can retire and what I need to be comfortable in my retirement. I can use technology to help me think about the goals and milestones that are important and pull that into a financial plan, leveraging AI and machine learning, and of course, the power of research and all of the data points we have about retirement, the part of the country that you want to retire in, your financial well-being, the others that are important to you, and bringing in all of that analytical data into the foundation and pulling that forward into a goal and a plan that's important for our client, right? So technology and data are at the foundation of all of that, but the end result is something that really resonates with me as a client because it connects to the things that are most important to me. When you think of all of the new technologies that we have, they really enrich all of the things that are important to us as humans. And when you can figure out how to give that digital capability, the connection to how people are feeling at that moment, that's when you really have that human connection. So it's finding those small moments to drive the outcomes and the collaboration you're looking for.
So AI and machine learning can help curate information to personalize and customize the interaction, is what you're saying.
That's right, absolutely. Because each client is different, and what's important to you as a client, what's important to me as a client is not the same. But taking in what we know about each of us and culling all of those information, all of those research reports, we can know what the advisor should talk to me about versus what the advisor should talk to you about. And AI and machine learning really is at the heart of all of that.
So it seems to me that the scenario that you're describing is that the technologies, AI and machine learning, are acting as enablers to the advisor. Are there scenarios in which the client might interact directly with the technologies to better enable a human connection, or no? Is your vision that the advisor is always the interface, so to speak?
Oh, no. We want the client to drive as well, right? So we want the client to feel like the advisor is omnipresent and that our firm is omnipresent. So, through our mobile capabilities and our apps, we're providing the client with information, and based on what we know about you or how you've interacted with the app, we will serve up new opportunities, different information, and we want you as the client to feel the advisor is always in your pocket. So with your phone, you can reach your advisor, you can self-serve the information, but it has to start with the client as well.
Well, now that we've talked a little bit about the definition of digital transformation and the human connection and how technology goes to work, we'll take a quick break for a word from our sponsor and then come back to talk a little bit about how companies can get started on or move further down their digital transformation journeys.
A pause for a word from our sponsor. Recognizing that security functionality must be fully integrated into the network, AI-driven SD-WAN, powered by SessionSmart, has built-in security that ensures that sessions are delivered based on identity and context to relevant parties following real-time security policies. This solution ensures that a modern, cloud-centric digital business can provide secure access to users and devices anywhere, and gives you the flexibility to configure your WAN and LAN networks to your specific security needs. A quick disclaimer. This third-party advertisement does not constitute an endorsement, guarantee, warranty, or recommendation by Executive TechTalks, Nemertes, WSTA, today's guest, or their company. We make no representations or warranties about any product or service advertised. With that, back to our show.
So, Jeanne, I want to kind of switch questions a little bit and ask, how did you personally get started on your digital transformation journey?
Well, I think really it was a happy accident, to be quite honest with you, Johna. So it started as a process re-engineering exercise. And not to date myself, but it was very much a manual environment. It was the 1990s. And when you transacted in a wealth management firm, it was pencil to paper. It was walking that information across the floor in your office to a key punch operator who would key that information in to the home office, where a trader would pick up that order and execute it on your behalf. And we came up with an online order entry capability for our advisors that would transact that right to the trading desk, eliminating several minutes in the process. And from there, I caught the bug. I think those of us who have been in technology and have been a champion of it for all of these years, I think we've always known what it could really bring and how important it was to be smart and efficient with what we were doing and really understand the outcomes that we were trying to achieve. I think over the last probably 5 years, and certainly since the pandemic, the front office really sees the power of technology and no longer view it really as a disintermediator, but really as a bridge to their client.
What do you envision as the most important components of digital transformation?
Yeah, so there's a few. I think one, it can't be technology for technology's sake. Like, what are the objectives and business goals we're really trying to achieve? What business outcomes do we want? Two, technology and business need to collaborate and build together. No one can sort of be off in their silo. It's definitely a partnership. I think we have to be smart about picking the right strategic partners. The landscape is changing so quickly, but it's important to really align with the partners who are seeking the same types of outcomes, right? I think organizations have to redesign and reorganize around client outcomes. That's not necessarily, how we've been organized. Folks are organized by product, revenue, and P&L, and no client, uses only one product, right? They're using a multitude of products, and how that all comes together, and how that is all in sync is super critical when you're thinking about a digital transformation. And then, it's important to educate and re-educate the whole organization, right? We need to raise the digital IQ for all employees in the organization, and that's something I think is sometimes overlooked.
What practical advice, other than the above, would you give other financial services firms to accelerate their digital transformation journeys?
Yeah, so I think research is super important before starting any journey of any kind. I think for years, we all, sort of assumed that we knew best, that we knew all the answers. This idea of centering around the client, whomever your client is, I think is critically important. Don't have someone else, speak for that outcome. Go to the source. Ensure that what you're doing aligns to that outcome very, very tightly. And it was only when we started going directly to our clients to learn what they really needed from us did we really sort of leapfrog what capabilities we were giving to our clients and put much more power in their hands than we had ever done before. And that came as a result of talking directly to them. So I think that's really important. And you can do client interviews or ethnographic research, surveys, focus groups, whatever works for your firm and your industry. But, hearing directly from our end users really help define the capabilities to best solve for the outcomes they want.
But how do you then embed that change in the organization so you get the whole organization to take a client-centric approach?
We have really great advocates in a number of key businesses across the organization who speak for us in the spirit of, better listening. And we've had some early success in our digital lab and factory with research driving the right outcomes and seeing it drive to net new money and revenue. And then just going back to that, reminding people, like, look, this works. Here's this success story, or here's this success story. And, then you get that momentum, the snowball running downhill, right? You start to pick up momentum and people want to understand, well, what's really happening in the lab? Tell us more about that research. How can we be a part of that? And then you bring in all of the great foundational technology and the AI and machine learning that we've been pulling in, and you get a home run because you marry up the new research with what we learned the last project we did and see, does that give us a new perspective? Does that, bring us to want to think about our approach differently? And if you keep challenging yourself that way and get the buy-in from the organization, you're steadfast in that conviction. What do our clients think? And we continue to go back every time a client emails us a compliment or a complaint or calls our service group for help. We track that and we follow up with those clients because we find they're the ones who are most willing to share. So we pull in, anyone who's willing to help, we pull you in. We don't have to do it all ourselves. So, we look to the broader organization to help champion that effort.
So basically, anyone who gives you feedback is recruited into the cause of getting better. So it's kind of at a high level, you don't start with formalized metrics, at least I didn't hear you say that. You start with the customer and listen to anyone that is engaged enough to give you feedback, positive or negative. You go back to them and make sure that you're listening to them, you're addressing their concerns, both positive and negative, and learning from them.
That's the best way that we learn. What did we do right, and what we didn't get right, which is, in my opinion, much more important.
Feedback is a gift. I love it. Thank you so much, Jeanne, for being here with us today. And I think this was a great and incredibly practical discussion around digital transformation and the human connection. Many thanks to our sponsor for today. The information is below. You'll also find links to other episodes, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks.